Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Kyle, Ashley, and Joe. So a lot of us here. We're going to get started with updates with Kyle right away because I don't know if I ever let Kyle go first. And
he's been gone for a while.
Yeah, and he keeps not being here.
Yeah, I know. That. The COVID has been throwing my schedule out of whack. Anyway, my update actually has to do with the whole coronavirus issue because we've been quarantined at home. The kids have been joining us in the gym a lot more. So already kind of passing that on to them, which we were doing that anyway, but it's more like, okay, we don't have a minute to go down and train without the kids. So let's just take the kids with us. And it's an adventure every time. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, going really well. We enjoy it.
Safety is the biggest priority there.
Yeah, it's really kind of one of us works while the other I shouldn't say quarantines because that's an official
quarantine within the quarantine.
Yeah. So the other one keeps the kids away from the one working.
Yeah.
And then switch back and forth.
It's a good process. Good update too. Thank you. I've missed your updates.
No, I've missed being here. I missed you guys.
Ashley, how's life?
Life is good. Trying to find a new normal with the COVID stuff. For me, I'm very much routine oriented, task oriented, if you will. So I'm having to write down a lot of things in order to, I don't know. I don't want to say make myself feel better, but that's kind of what it is. That's the only reason why I do it. So I write down my day, like you will do this, and then I get to check it off at the end, and it just makes me feel like I've done something, even if it's within the house. And then you guys know, and everybody on Facebook knows, but Fit Week is here, and I got a pretty big PR, and I was pretty pumped. And I did a celebratory dance, which I didn't get any of it on video, but that's okay. So it was great. I hit 205 and I haven't hit 200 pounds since before I had my baby. And so
congrats.
Thank you. 215 is my normal. So I'm going right back for it. The comeback.
I love Fit Week. It's super motivational. I love just seeing everybody's PR so far. So we're recording this during Fit Week, obviously, but so far I think the videos have been great.
It's been awesome.
Like the form's been good. People are being safe. I see a lot more conditioning videos coming around and people talking about doing them as well. So I'm excited to see some of those. There was conversation in the Facebook group just this morning to see if I would set up some sort of like Zoom call for 2K row for everyone to do it at the same time.
Oh gosh.
I'm considering it. By the time this publishes, you'll know if it happened or not, but we'll see. I'm game. Joe.
Like a massive FaceTime, with everybody rowing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Or you could just we could one person at a time, but that'd take
forever. Yeah. That's intense.
What else are you doing?
I would take a
while. All right. Joe, how's life, man? You're acting like COVID-19 doesn't even exist. So I'd like to hear your updates.
Yeah. I just traveling all over the place. I don't really care. Just staying away from people. Yeah, I'm just trying to adjust to everything because 2 weeks ago, I had a gym.
It's hard to go
everything was normal.
Homeless, and then a pandemic hit.
Yeah.
You ship off your stuff. The second the doors close on the truck, they're like, oh yeah, there's a giant pandemic and it's pretty dangerous. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
I don't even have a place to live. That's good.
All gyms are closed and you can't do anything about it. All right, great. So I'm just trying to figure out what the heck to do. Basically it. And then the weather is also crap because it's spring and it's raining 2 times a day. Yeah, it's not good, but it's all right.
That's an update, man. That's not very, it's not very motivational. I don't feel the excitement from you about
Hey, he's being real.
quarantined life.
Yeah, I'm here to I'm here for balance. You know, I'm always a little tougher.
Okay, well, I have my updates. I'm going to talk about some Into 3 Fitness podcast stuff or whatever, and then, but my personal updates. I don't know if this is sad or not. My life is just not different at all. You know, I live a quarantined life, I guess.
That's what I was confused about Ashley's because I was like, wait, what much is different besides Scott's around?
Well, she probably gets out and does things like.
Oh.
I don't do that. Like, well, it's Monday through Friday, I would say. I like this weekend was our first weekend being quarantined, this past one, and that was a little weird because we couldn't even the parks are closed around here, you know, and so it's just like we didn't go out to eat, we didn't go anywhere, and so that was a little strange. But Monday through Friday, I don't typically go anywhere anyway. You know, I do take my son to school in the mornings. And then, you know, after that, I'm pretty much home, train, work, family time. So all that's pretty much the same. But yeah, the weekend was a little weird. But I think everything's good. I'm enjoying. I'm getting ready for this next cycle. And I actually wanted to ask you guys if you've decided, Joe, you almost don't count. If you guys have decided which track you're going to be on. Kyle, which track will you be on this next cycle?
Well, I was watching the webinar and was thinking maybe Endure, because I had been thinking about going to Endure anyway. But then you dropped the whole strongman element, conjugate style going
Use lots
for
of cool
the strength
words.
track.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, these are words that I like.
He's
These are
speaking
words I
to me.
enjoy. Exactly.
So strength, are you decided?
Strength all the way, baby.
Ashley, what are you doing?
I'm going to do women's health track. I'm going to go with my ladies. I love harder to kill. So, but I'm just going to push it off for another 12 weeks. Next 12 weeks, I'll be H2K.
And Joe, I guess I could ask you, but
I
No
just
gear?
don't matter.
I don't really know your moving time frame or anything. So let's just say you get access to a gym again. Which track would you be on? Other than like some quasi no gear track that you are forced to be on right now.
Yeah, I can't just do straight no gear. I got to find some odd objects to start lifting or something.
Yeah.
So Liz just switched to Endure. She went from hard to kill to Endure because it fits with her being on the ship. So she can just do 2 lifting days and then 2 conditioning days away from everyone. And I've been contemplating about Endure as well if I ever get access to a gym again, because then I can also do the same logic of, okay, I only have to go physically to the gym for 2 days, and then the other 2 days I can just run around wherever I am at that point in time. So that could be a possibility, but who knows when the gyms will open again. Whenever I have a decision, I might just get super excited and just want to go to hug a barbell every day. Who knows?
Hug a barbell.
Yeah.
I hug my barbells every day.
Exactly. Kyle has names for them. Tells them they're good.
Mine does too, but I don't hug them.
Wait, you have a name for your barbell?
It's America, but that's because that's what it's called.
It's not a name.
That's the name the manufacturer gave it. That's
Yeah.
not your name for it.
Yeah, you can call it Mary.
Well, if you guys are wondering which track I wanted to be on,
Oh, we
Obviously.
weren't.
anyway, goodness gracious,
This actually might be a big drop if it still holds.
I'm actually undecided. I'm going to make a game day decision again, but it is between strength and hard to kill. So, and here's how I select my track, just so everyone is aware. I don't select my track based on things I have coming up. Like assuming my 100-mile bike race doesn't get canceled because that's the end of August. That's pretty far away. I'm not like, hey, I need to be 100% prepared for that. I'm more like, what do you feel like doing right now? That's about the only question I ask myself. I'm like, what do you feel like doing? And I've felt like for the last couple of days, the strength track. But then last night I started thinking about, I'm like, I got a little feeling of hard to kill. I was like, well, I just got to let these feelings sit until the ultimate last minute. Because like I mentioned before, I have the power to change my track at any moment in time, so I can do it last second, the day before I start the training session. But then once I'm there, I stick there for the most part. So unless I'm traveling and do something no gear. So that's where my head's at. Well, I'll let you guys know officially probably in the next podcast. Riveting. All right. Did you guys like it more when Kyle wasn't here, or? All right, here, I'm going to read some reviews. Again, if I read your review, free t-shirt. This is Tug Pez with 2 Z's. And the reason I'm reading it is because of the title. The title is awesome. So GOAT for internet programming. So greatest of all time. I found Garage Gym Athlete from starting with one-man barbell to up my game because I hit a slump in training. I was jumping around from what I found on the internet, from bodybuilding workouts to CrossFit style WODs. This programming is honestly the best out there. I saw results in just 1 month of training. I love how they don't just tell you what to do, but explain why they have you do it on the podcast. I even gone back to listen to all the Better Humanology podcasts, and just makes me want to be better. I am back to being excited to train again. It's awesome to know there are people out there like me who love training in their garage. So that was a good one. Review. And I'll pick one more at random, scrolling really fast, just randomly throw on something, hit one here. I'm trying not to just do the more recent ones. How about I'm just, you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Brainstorm names for Ashley's barbell.
Hey, I like America. No, I don't like Mary.
Yeah, Mary. I'm referring to it as Mary. How's Mary doing?
I can call her the Stars and Stripes.
Oh my God.
Something.
Okay, backyard gym. This one's from a year ago. So I just feel like I wanted to pull like a longer term one. That way it was just most recent. And the person's name is OG Athlete. After being inside all day at my desk job, I had zero interest in spending more time indoors lifting. I've been running, cycling, skiing outdoors for 39 years, hence the outdoor gym. It's a minimalist setup, but 2 years into it, I cannot imagine ever going to a gym again. And yes, living in Colorado, I do lift in the snow. I get out of the garage and get outside, but love Garage Gym Athlete training. So that is the second one. So 2 free shirts this week. And yeah, thanks for the review. We might just keep doing this. Might just keep doing it. Like, I don't see any reason to stop. So we'll keep doing that. And if you guys keep leaving reviews, I'll keep reading them. And I don't have anything else. The book, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to postpone it very far. That was the only other update I had. People were wondering, and I actually ended up getting some messages about it. The goal was late April initially is where I really wanted it, but I think it's just going to move like a week or two into May. If COVID-19 is still going strong and whatever, guess what? We're going to launch a book during a pandemic. Doesn't even matter. We'll just get it out there because I don't want to sit on the book forever. It's done. I feel like it's burning a hole through my computer because that's the only way I've actually seen it. I don't have the in-hand copy yet. So I want to get it out there. So that's what my plan is for anybody who was wondering or asking about that.
You're going to do a big reveal for your cover on Facebook, you said?
Yeah, right? I will. I'm not revealing it I might just reveal it by you ordering the book. Oh. And then when you get it, so on Amazon, I'll put it as like a black image. Like you can't see anything. No, I'm kidding. I will do a big reveal of what the cover is. And people got to vote for that if you didn't know, anyone listening. All right, well, let's get into the study. The study is basically on compression gear. The name of it is Compression Garments and Recovery from Exercise, a meta-analysis. So really cool. Let's see. I think they had 23 studies, I believe, they pulled for this. And it's just all about how can compression garments help with recovery. And they even looked at different forms of exercise, resistance training, running, just endurance stuff. And they looked at power exercises and training. And then they were just like, hey, does this realistically help you with recovery? And I know back in the day, there was a company called Skins, and I looked them up. I don't even think that they're a company anymore. So that's interesting. But anyway, I wanted to buy a pair because they just like pushed so hard on like how good this recovery was with this compression garments and everything. But it was super expensive. They were like it's like $200 for, one pair of recovery pants. And I'm like, is that really worth, whatever you're saying it's going to be? And so that's something I want to talk about as well, but we can get into the different, I'll just look at it a little bit or talk about it a little bit more. So it was 23 studies and they pulled like all the studies and they had inclusion criteria. I'm not going to read all that junk. If you want to, you can go do that. But they were just looking at all the different studies on compression garments and how it would actually help with recovery from exercise. And I just want to get some of your takeaways from it. I don't want to get too into the weeds because I just feel like this one is super straightforward. Like it's not confusing. Compression garments are something that's tight on the skin, and they're just looking at how people performed after having worn them at different time intervals. So Ashley, what did you get from the study?
So the first point I made was I said it makes sense that it helped the resist. So if you wore the compression garments after resistance training, to me, that made a lot of sense because of the strain, I guess, that you're putting your body under with the weight. And then the interesting thing that I found was for the endurance part, it didn't talk about running or, rowing or anything, but cycling. And that made sense to me too, because it's just very heavy on the legs. Jared, you can attest to this as well as Joe. I don't really cycle very much, but so I could see how that could benefit someone. And then my other second point I had to this was, or my other takeaway is, if it's proving that you can recover quicker, then why not try something like this? And it even talked about like you can lift heavy after a taxing workout. The only thing I think I would caution people is they talked about potentially more lifting, more volume afterwards. And you wouldn't want to go too far that way, in my personal opinion. I think you still should, lift like your normal. Like if you lift an hour, if you work out an hour a day, like, keep your hour a day stuff. But to me, if something says, hey, this is going to help your recovery, then why not try it? But my question, I guess, can I get into that or do you want to go just takeaways first?
Go with your question. Yeah.
My question is, so you know how some of us, and I did it yesterday, if I'm squatting or if I'm doing stuff, I wear actual like compression sleeves, like knee sleeves to help with that. So I guess my question would be, I don't think that they tested as they lifted. Am I correct in that statement?
I mean, there are 23 studies. I don't think so.
Yeah. So I would be interested in that. Like, does compression help with the heavy weight? In my mind, I think it would, but anyways, that's where I went with this, but yeah.
I think the knee sleeves are more for performance because it keeps your legs straight or helps your legs straighten. It doesn't actually like compress the muscles.
True. Yeah.
And I think when I read that they recommended to compress whatever muscles you need or that you work that need to be recovered. So it doesn't really compress the entire muscles unless you just do like complete leg sleeves.
Well, there's two different types of knee sleeves. I think what you're talking about is just like a reband type.
Yeah.
And those are generally not, they have different like millimeter ones that are tighter than others. And I think it has some of that like just rebound effect, I think, helping you with your squats. And I think it's warming up the joint and providing that compression. But I think you need to wear it for a really long time. So I don't know how much it would help during other than that rebound, like snap back to its shape. But if you're talking about powerlifting knee sleeves, those can add like 30 pounds to your squat. You could PR, in one training session if you just started wearing powerlifting compression gear, which is also kind of what never mind. Don't.
Are you talking about the red wraparound stuff that they?
Yeah. So there's just compression garments that powerlifters wear. I don't know if you guys have seen them, like a bench press shirt or, the knee sleeves, like.
Never seen the shirt.
Yeah. So like they walk around like this after the shirt's on, like they're hugging a tree because they can't put their arms down. And then the bench forces it to like the shirt to go out. And then the shirt, like I said, it could probably lift 30 pounds by itself. Like if you could put the shirt on a mannequin, and make it bench press, it could probably lift that much just by itself. And so that's why in powerlifting they have gear and no gear meets and everything else. But yeah, so those definitely help with performance. So if you want to PR massively, get some powerlifting gear. But yeah, I don't know how much that would help. But just to go to some of the takeaways that or just the overall results was it seemed most beneficial for strength training and cycling specifically. And Ashley kind of hit on that, but that is, just so everybody knows, not as much on power performance and overall endurance, like running, not as helpful. I mean, they mentioned some ways that could be helpful, but it seemed like strength training specifically and cycling. Kyle, what were some of your takeaways?
So mine kind of relates a little bit. The last time I was on the podcast, I talked a little bit about RPE, rate of perceived effort, and just kind of the mindset of training in general. And so what it was talking about with the compression gear is that it can decrease delayed onset muscle soreness. And so just basically, if you wear the compression gear after your training, it can help to make you less sore, which can also make you a little bit more motivated to train the next day. And so maybe you bring a little bit more to the table, a little bit more to the workout the next day. And so, and related to that, with the mass review that we went over this study, they mentioned that static stretching is not effective at helping with the DOMs with delayed onset muscle soreness. And it's because static stretching anyway, doesn't really help with blood flow. And that's what the compression gear does. It increases the blood flow to your muscles. And we've talked about blood flow before and how that's what helps you, a lot of what helps you with muscle recovery. And so I don't know about other people, but for a long time, I just thought when I was sore the next day that I needed to go stretch, right? I needed to go stretch out, stretch the soreness out. You know, I'll feel better if I go and stretch. And what I found was it didn't really go away.
I was about to say, did that ever work for you?
Yeah, it didn't really work. And but for some reason, I just stuck with that and I just kept doing it anyway. And so just kind of making that plug as well of like, if you want to take away the soreness from a workout like today, we did today I'm a little bit sore. We did our max out on back squat and strict press yesterday for Fit Week. And so I'm a little bit sore. I'm not bad sore, but just a little bit sore from going heavy. And so I need to run out and get some compression gear, I guess, to help me not be sore anymore. Or we could do some of the other things that we talk about, not the static stretching, but doing things like cold water submersion and doing other recovery things that help promote the blood flow. And so that's just kind of what stuck out to me was helping with that muscle soreness by increasing the blood flow. And that's what the compression does, is the compression increases the blood flow.
Am I the only one who enjoys being sore?
I love being sore. I love it.
To a certain extent.
I mean, I'm not talking about the like ridiculous, and to be honest, I don't get ridiculously sore anymore. I don't know what I would have to do. Like, I honestly think it's Murph that does this to me. Like, it did it to me after the first year. I used to get sore all the time if I do. And then after you do Murph, it's just like your body is like numb to volume. I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm not, it might be really bad, but I like to feel like my body has worked. And if I were to take 2 days off in a row, maybe 3 days off in a row, the rare instance that happened, I just feel like awful. I'm like, I don't like how my body feels. And probably I would, if I kept doing that, I bet my body would start hurting more, like everywhere. You got to keep getting that volume in. But to your point, Kyle, they said the main thing that they think the mechanism behind compression garments working it's removing metabolites, enhancing nutrient delivery. And so there's just blood flow. Like that's all it is. Like,
fancy way of saying blood flow.
Like, so if you you could get some compression gear, and I'm not against it, because that compression gear is actually a lot easier than facilitating blood flow in a localized area. Because if your arm's sore and you go for a walk, that might help a little bit, but you really should probably be doing like some sort of really light banded exercise with your arm to make your arm less sore, like to get that, as opposed to a compression sleeve would be easier to do. But if you're wondering if you need to have it, I mean, you really can just go to, most people's legs are their issues. So if you could go for a walk or a light cycle, it's going to help just as much. Joe, what were some of your takeaways?
But I wish I had some of that after the EMOMs last month in Hard to Kill, because that
I love when we throw EMOMs back in and people are just like, what? Like,
I don't know what sort of wizardry or why it always does it, but if you go a couple of months without an EMOM and then you do it, yeah, you're going to be sore for several days.
yeah.
Yeah. So I also just touched on a different aspect of it. They didn't find any benefit to power, because typically when you're training power stuff, you're not getting a ton of volume, so you're not going to be very sore anyway. So as far as like benefit for that, it's not going to increase any power for just increasing blood flow.
You know, what's interesting about the strength and power is, I keep reading it in all these studies, is that the most effective test on your recovery for these things is your vertical jump. I think it's hilarious, but you know, they're like, no, screw, and they're talking about readiness, like your actual readiness to perform that day is your vertical jump. So if your vertical jump is lesser on any given day, you're probably not as prepared to train. And I just think it's such a funny thing to test. You like go, all right, today's back squat day. Let's see if I'm ready. See if I can
Everyone set up a jump wall
and see if I can touch that piece of tape on the side of my house. You know, like, I don't know how you test it, but I don't know. I just been thinking about that a lot lately, based off of what you just mentioned with power.
Yeah. I also had kind of a question as to which compression gear they're talking about, because like compression gear is very vague. I own a lot of Under Armour stuff, but that's not the compression gear they're going for. They want like super compression, actually just made for this kind of stuff.
A wetsuit.
Yeah, basically, I guess so.
Well, I actually had the same point, because you have to pull up all the studies and see if they happen to mention individual brand, which we didn't do, but I just got on Amazon to look at different compression gear, and the cost difference is insane. Like, I could get a pair of compression tights, bottoms like pants, for $19 with one company that's like compression gear improves recovery, and then I can go to another company on Amazon for $150. And I don't know how much any of it actually matters if you're just talking about recovery. Like, if you're talking, I mean, I know there's a quality issue there, right? Between 19 and 150, most likely the $150 pair is going to last longer and all these other things. But if I'm just wanting to put on something tight and lay in my bed, I don't know how much any of it matters. You know, if I'm just trying to reduce my recovery, and I'm not using them to work out and all that, it's just like, hey, I'm putting these on, it's recovery time. And so I don't know how much it matters. I don't think it matters that much. I think that as long as it's really tight, snug fitting, no air pockets, they said, like, you should be fine. So I wouldn't worry about any of the marketing claims behind some of these companies that are pushing different compression garments. And I would just focus on how it fits and everything else. And if you guys I don't have a lot of experience with compression gear, believe it or not, other than our Garage Gym Athlete jersey. I don't really wear compression stuff. You guys wear compression gear at all?
I don't have any compression gear, but I've seen those inflatable pants that you can wear and compression stuff, which they had at my old PT. And
that is definitely not what they're talking about here.
No, but it's still compression and blood flow.
Yes.
But no, I haven't had any of those pants or anything like that. And at least not to me when I was reading it, it wasn't very clear about when you wear it or for how long. So they've mentioned like less than or greater than 24 hours, and then whether you wait to put it on after 24 hours or wear it for 24 hours. That was also a bit confusing to me.
Yeah, let me pull up the actual just conclusion of the study so we can kind of read. I just want to read the conclusion so people can get it. The largest benefit resulting from compression garments were for strength recovery from 2 to 8 hours and greater than 24 hours. So that means there are two different things that they noticed in the data. That means they were both statistically significant, into which, hey, if you were to put these on between 2 and 8 hours, so same day after your training, there is some performance benefit. How long? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say. Maybe you need to wear if I had to guess, I think that since it's blood flow, it's no different than probably aerobic training. I would guess it's 30 to 60 minutes in which they need to be worn. But with compression garments, why not wear them longer? And also greater than 24 hours. So the next day after training, putting them on. Considering exercise modality, compression most effectively enhanced recovery from resistance exercise, particularly at the time points greater than 24 hours. The use of compression garments would also be recommended to enhance next day cycling performance. So if you are cycling back to back, that next day wearing, and maybe I don't cycle seriously enough. My legs have never been sore from riding a bike. I don't know why. Lifting a barbell, absolutely. Cycling, it just hasn't happened. Maybe if I was mountain biking or something where you actually, there's I don't have a lot of hills around here. I'm not in a high gear all the time. So it's never that taxing on my legs. And then the last line, the benefits of compression garments in relation to applied pressures and participant training status are unclear and limited by the paucity of reported data. So there you go. That is the actual conclusion. I don't normally read those, but I wanted everyone to know like what the big picture stuff was. Anything else on that? Yeah, I think it's something that there's enough data here suggesting that it's worthwhile. It's not something that, if this were like one study, I'd be like, but it's 23 studies and they're saying, yeah, it helps. So I would say get some compression garments if you want to train, especially, I would look into some cycling compression garments and not to perform better at cycling, but some days it will be like back squats for me and then cycling. So if I had compression garments in between there, maybe that would help preserve and some of my gains and reduce some muscle soreness. That's how I would use it.
Yeah, and it won't cost you too much.
Yeah.
If you don't go to the big ones.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see any reason why the more expensive ones would be more effective, because you could seriously just wrap yourself in ACE bandages and it's the same thing. All right, topic. Fitness during the great pandemic of 2020. So we're going to go over what we recommend people do who have closed gyms, other than following Garage Gym Athlete training, which is your absolute best option. Okay. Follow Garage Gym Athlete, go sign up for a free trial. We got the no gear track. You don't need any gear. And then we have 7 other tracks on top of that. So get after it. Go to garagegymathlete.com if you want to do that. But if you don't, because you're, stubborn or whatever, you want to, maybe you want to give some of these suggestions to your friends who don't know about Garage Gym Athlete. We're going to give you some tips and pointers. And I'm actually going to go first, because I would just throw mine out here, get them out of the way, and then, see what you guys have. But I wanted to go more things I think you should be doing, things that I do on a regular basis that help, is one, consistency in training. If you're not accustomed to working from home, my training can get pushed all over the place sometimes. Like it could be in the morning or the afternoon. And I've been trying over the last few months to reduce that as much as possible. So getting a very consistent training time down and putting it onto my calendar. And the reason I used to move things around is because if it was on my calendar and I needed to hop on a call or something, or we wanted to do a podcast during the time that I would normally train, I'd normally just move the training session around up or down because I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule. And now it's something on my calendar to where after it's on my calendar, I will tell you I'm unavailable. And if it offends anybody that my training is making me unavailable to you, hey, sorry, like I'm unavailable during these times and it's because I'll be working out. Yes, I could move it. No, I'm not going to. And so that's how I think that you should treat your training during something like this, making it almost like you have an appointment with another human being, trainers showing up to your garage or whatever, and you can't be late for it. You can't miss the appointment. So that's one thing. 2, go for walks. That's something I do on a regular basis, at least a 10-minute walk once per day, if not more, just to get up and move around. It also goes into the EO3 elements, that additional aerobic movement. I've recently added the grid back to my daily routine. So Ashley probably knows what I'm talking about. I mean, maybe everybody does, but you draw a grid on a piece of paper and then you just randomly do exercises throughout the day. My choice is push-ups. So I will draw a grid, typically like a 3x4 or a 4x4. And my minimum for me is 10 push-ups. So I always have to do at least 10 push-ups every time I get dropped down to do them. And these are just spaced randomly throughout the day, but I have to fill the grid every day that I do it. So I think last week that added 1,100 push-ups to my week, that's a lot of push-ups. And I don't think that's confusing. And that's it. That's all I have. So just have consistent training, go for a walk, and add the grid to your daily routine. This is just to get more active if you're not accustomed to being home. I know when I transitioned from the military to civilian life, like I wanted to crawl out of my skin with how inactive I was compared to the military, because even if you have a desk job in the military, like you're moving around constantly. Like you don't really have a lot of reasons to sit at your desk for several hours. Like you're just always out doing something for the most part, especially if you're supervising people. And so I think when I had to transition, I had to start developing habits and routines like this to feel less like lazy. And that's what I realized early on. I was like, unless I have to use the bathroom, there's no reason for me to move. And that makes me want to throw up a little bit. So Kyle, what tips do you have?
Well, kind of to your point, maybe if you're used to working out in a gym and you're used to allotting that time to travel to the gym and get changed and then do your workout and wait on other people if you have to or whatever, and then get changed again and go back to whatever it was you were doing. If you're used to doing that already, go ahead and leave that time blocked off for that. You know what I mean? Like what you were talking about of making an appointment. If it's something that you already do on a regular basis anyway, like if you swing by the gym on the way home from work, then, if you get off at 4:00 and you're used to going to the gym, then whatever it is that you're doing at home or whatever that looks like for you at 4:00, you've already got that time built in. And so just keep it that way. And now your training is going to look a little different because you're not going to the gym, but find something to do during that time and just go ahead. That way it's already there, and you're actually keeping a habit that you already had built up, and that won't be a habit that you have to relearn once all this settles down and you get back to normal. Now, as far as what to do during that time, there's millions of things that you could do. Like you said, go out and take a walk. There's all kinds of stuff on social media right now. There's celebrities getting involved in it. You don't have to be following like fitness people. Like there's a push-up challenge going on right now, like a C10 do 10, I think is what it's called. I'm not big on
I did my
media,
10.
so
Ashley tagged me. I did my I just wanted to let her know. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is on my list of what I don't do.
Yeah. Well, other Kyle, as I refer to him, which is Kyle Hayscamp, tagged me in on Instagram, his 10 push-up thing. And he did it with one of his children on his back. So I've got to post mine and
just put both of your children on your back.
Yeah, I know, right? The thing is, they're 3 and 1. I don't know if they would sit still long enough to do it. So, but anyway, I might have to just record 1 rep at a time and splice them all together. But anyway, there's a million different things you can do. Scour social media, scour the web. You can find all kinds of things to do during that time. And like I said earlier, if you have kids, get your kids involved. Let them do it too. Don't maybe try not to use them as an excuse. Like this is a crazy schedule. We're not used to this. Well, it's something that you need to prioritize, and something that this is a good opportunity to say, hey, we're all at home. Let's get some stuff and let's do some stuff together. And then, like I said, if you build that habit now, then once life gets back to normal, that's already a habit that you've got built. And so now you can all do it as a family.
Ashley, how about you?
Yeah, I echo some of the things that you guys said. Walking was definitely one of my points as well. We try to get out and go for a walk every day. And it just helps Connor. It's really weird because he's 18 months and his daily routine is within the home, but we do get out a lot. And so I feel like he's even feeling the cooped up pressure, even though he's so young. So I find that a walk helps him, even if he's in the stroller. He loves seeing cars that go by, and he points out squirrels and stuff. So it's great because then Scott and I can kind of chat and catch up and do whatever, because my husband is in the military and he's still having to go to work, unfortunately. So But I also like to find something that you find fun. So even if it's cycling, go for a cycle around the neighborhood, do what you need to do. Your body, just your body weight can do a lot of stuff. Old Ashley used to think body weight workouts were nothing. So sometimes I would just not even work out because I was like, oh, there's no barbell involved. And which is really stupid.
Nothing is better than having to do body weight training. I love it. I would rather do nothing.
I know.
Than not lift a barbell.
That's like not so that I don't know why I felt like that, but I am happy, proud to say I've overcome that. And your body can do great things. I mean, shoot, as Kyle was talking about, have you ever tried to do a thruster with a child? They think it's hilarious, and it's actually really taxing. And I mean,
make sure to turn them face out.
True.
Away from you.
Yeah.
Just so we know, the company policy is not using your children for exercise implements, but
I'm just saying you can get really creative with stuff. And, jump lunges. We talked about soreness earlier. If you're not sore after jump lunges, Jared Moon, then there's something wrong with you. Jump lunges and jump squats.
My legs hurt really bad when I'm doing them, but then the next day I wake up, nothing.
You've got stuff. Anyways, body weight workouts are great. We offer them. And just what Kyle said, there's a ton of people offering a lot of stuff that is free right now. And yes, we promote Garage Gym Athlete, but get out there, figure something out and do something, even if it's for 15 to 30 minutes during the day. That's my
I will say something. You mentioned like old Ashley would rather do nothing than body weight training. I do feel that way about random training.
Right.
I think during this time period, if you just want to move and do random stuff, that's great. And you guys know how I feel about, I think everybody listening to the podcast knows how I feel about random programming, but me personally, I can't do it. Like this is kind of what happens if I do travel, especially longer duration travel, I'm kind of doing random stuff at times if it's only going to be for a few days. And after like day 2, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I hate this. I have to be on some sort of program that's moving me forward, because I've also looked at a lot of, by my observation, people over the years who say, all you got to do is get out there and move and do something. It doesn't really matter what it is. I've never been too impressed with their performance. The people who say that type of thing, it's great. Like, it's great advice, but that's obviously not where I want to live. So if you do need some more structure or whatever, and you are following something random on social media, hopefully they're stringing things together. So what I would say, if it's one person that you're following and they're doing workouts every day, then like do them all, like just follow that. If you have the same kind of mindset that I had, like just try, because I'm sure they're programming something in that nature. So like, if you feel like that would be, and I might be the only person like that on the planet, I don't know. But if you feel like, random sucks, then try and just stick with that person or wherever you're getting the information. That way there's at least some intelligent programming to it. My 2 cents. Joe.
I just crossed like 3 things off my list after your rant, so that's cool.
Well,
just kidding.
I don't see anything on your list.
That's true. So first, if you're, stressed and freaking out about this whole situation going on, stop freaking out. Just do your due diligence, but don't think of workouts and things that you're going to do that aren't going to stress you out more. So if you are following somebody and then you think, oh man, I don't really want to do this. This looks terrible for this reason or the other, and that's giving you anxiety or whatever, just don't do it. Do something that you enjoy more. Something that even though I don't have a gym, but literally from my brother's front porch, a block away is a full turf field that we used. So that's fantastic to have. So I'm using whatever resources you have. So like last week, my workout was me and him for 90 minutes, just running around the field, playing soccer, playing lacrosse, doing random stuff like that.
But you got that heart rate up, didn't you?
I did.
Mm-hmm. For some reason that can't happen in Garage Gym Athlete training, but
so sour. So just trying to work with what you have. I am kind of echo what old Ashley is. I get bored with just body weight stuff. It just gets old after a while. So I'm trying to be creative, but I'm going to do like a pseudo endure, because he has a couple of things here. So he has a slam ball, a weight vest, one light kettlebell. So I'm going to do like Yeah, just some superset type Tabata things, and then some endurance on another day. So it's slightly random, but also slightly with a plan. So I just think if you just do something that you might enjoy, and also have, you don't necessarily need to have a crazy in-depth programming plan, but just have like a little bit of an idea that, okay, I did this day, so let's do something else this other day that I enjoy.
There you go. Now, if you do have a full gym in your garage, basement, attic, extra room, outside,
I hope people aren't lifting in their attic. That seems not safe.
Then you should totally come to Garage Gym Athlete, where we're thinking about all these things for you. Wait, why wouldn't you lift in your attic?
Why would you lift in your attic?
If you drop
a friend of
anything,
mine
it goes straight through the roof.
A friend of mine has his gym. He's another youth minister. He has his gym at his church building where he works. And it's actually in the attic where like the AC units and the projectors and all that stuff is.
Well, if they can hold AC units, then they might be okay. But like your average attic, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think all attics hold an AC unit, don't they? Mine does. Like
mine's outside.
Yeah, but not the actual like.
I don't build homes. I don't know these things.
Have you been in an attic before? You're like, I don't store things in an attic. All right.
Yeah.
I can just imagine a heavy deadlift though, and someone drops the bar and then
sorry,
goes through the roof.
you just see the plates sticking through. It's now a deficit.
Oh no!
All right. Zone
Kyle,
2
you
Murph.
skipped your one point that I really liked. Your first one. Don't invite people over.
Yeah, don't invite people over. Yeah, don't do that. I saw that. I don't know who posted it. I don't know if it was Coop on Garage Gym Reviews or something like that. Somebody had like put up their garage gym for like people to come, and he was charging them.
Yeah,
he was charging them $1 to come and use his stuff. And I'm like, don't do that. And the reason your gym is closed is because of social distancing. Like, don't go and exploit that. But like, yeah, just.
And I get it though. Like that guy's not trying to be helpful. He's trying to. I know it's $1, but like, why charge people anything if you're gonna have them come over? But that's great. Like if you want to be the community gym for your community in your neighborhood when there isn't a pandemic, that's awesome. Yeah. But right now is not a good time. Like so exercise has increased tenfold in my neighborhood. Just something I've noticed when I do go outside. Because when I go for a run, 99% of the time I've ever gone on a run, I don't see another human being. Like I just don't. And every day I've gone outside for a run. And that's my run is normally just like during a warm up. I normally run like 800 meters or something. I've seen at least like 8 to 10 people on my short little jog every single day, and I'm even at different times. So a lot more people are exercising, and a lot of people see my garage gym when they run by, and they're just like, "Oh, wow!" Like, he was prepared for this, and I'm like, yeah. Happened about a decade ago, like this is just something that I do, but I would love to invite those people over, but I'm just not going to right now because I just don't think it's a good idea. I'd also be stuck with like cleaning every piece of equipment with like bleach for like hours afterwards if I really wanted to keep it sanitary. So I'm not doing that. And it's not because I'm trying to be selfish with my gym equipment. I'm just trying to do what we should all be doing during this time frame. All right. Zone 2 Murph is the workout for this week. And we did it not that long ago. And the reason I want to do it again to kick off the new cycle is for all the athletes who've been around, who were around last cycle and did Zone 2 Murph, because this is a great fitness test now that you get your second one. So if you haven't done it before, great, do it. We're going to explain it. But if you have all the athletes who have done Zone 2 Murph, this is a phenomenal fitness test. Because sometimes with like doing Murph twice in a row, if you were to do it today and then do it tomorrow, assuming you weren't sore, or let's just say you did it once, you did it this Saturday and then you did it next Saturday, you're probably going to be faster, and it will most likely have nothing to do with your fitness level. It'll be because you figured out a better strategy for the push-ups, or you know how to go a little bit faster on the squats or something like that. It's not a 7-day massive fitness increase. But with Zone 2 Murph, there's absolutely no cheating it because you have like a heart rate stipulation to it. You need to be in Zone 2 while doing the Murph workout. So if you do complete more work at the same heart rate, the only thing that's happened is your fitness has increased, which is awesome. So I think it's a really cool, this workout gets cooler the more you test it. And we'll probably test it once per cycle just to see, because it's not very taxing. I think we've all done it. Yeah? No.
I haven't yet.
Right. Kyle, did you do it?
I don't remember. Probably.
Okay, Kyle didn't do it either. So Ashley and I have done it. And wait, Ashley, have you done it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good.
Jared's the only one
Jared
who's
on an
done
island.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people in the community did it. We got a lot of interaction with this one. So the workout is simply do Murph while your heart rate is in zone 2. If you guys want to explain more about Murph or zone 2, I'll let you do it. But that's all I got.
I think Kyle should go first because I think that point is awesome.
So real quick, zone 2 heart rate is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, just so everyone knows what zone 2 is. But I think this may be the same point that I made the last time we talked about zone 2 Murph, but maybe not. But to me, this one is one where you need to put your ego aside, especially with people who are familiar with Murph, people who have maybe done Murph a lot. Your point with Murph is trying to get a faster time. That's not going to happen with zone 2 Murph. Like, just take this. It's just like last week where you talked about straight bar deadlifts versus trap bar. It's two different movements, and it's the same thing with Murph and zone 2 Murph. Like, this is not. It's not slow Murph. It's not any of that. It's not. It's an opportunity to see where your fitness level really is, and that's what we do here at Garage Gym Athlete. Is we try to train in different heart rate zones, and we try to train different energy systems so we can be well-rounded. And that's what this is. It's just using a familiar workout to test something different than how fast can you go. And so just put your ego aside and understand zone 2 Murph. You're not going to get the time on zone 2 Murph that you get on regular Murph. If you do, you are a robot. And anyway,
Or you're just not trying hard enough in regular Murph.
Right. Maybe you're just not trying hard enough.
Or you have a weird heart defect. Like Joe, I could see getting
maybe
the
doing
same
it.
time in both. That's just,
So
he's the only person who comes to mind.
You're either a robot or you have a weird heart defect or you're Joe Courtney. That's it. Those are the only 3 options. So, but anyway, just put your ego aside. Understand, yes, it's Murph, but it's intentional Murph. Like, there's a reason behind it. And so try to make it a new challenge. And it is a challenge. It's a challenge to stay in that heart rate zone. So look at it from, this isn't slow Murph. It's actually more of a challenge for me to stay within this specific place in my workout and see how much I can get done. So.
Yeah, I really like that point, and I'm going to piggyback on it. It's a meet yourself because you're going to be upset. And then I specifically remember slacking you after Jared and saying that was stupid. And that's how I felt the entire time. I think I was talking to you during my running, or because I'm not really running. Like, I will admit, my zone 2, my heart rate spikes the minute I try to start a run cadence. So I'm like shuffling, running. So I had to figure that out. I didn't wear the vest because I think the vest also adds strain, adds stress. So your heart rate could potentially spike more. And then I tried to do things as strict as possible. I can't do that many strict pull-ups, unfortunately. So I remember I put bands up, and I try to keep that strict. You can do body rows, you can do ring rows, whatever you need to do, but you kind of have to keep the pull-ups definitely strict and not kip them because your heart rate will go up. But I loved Kyle's point because I'm going to kind of call my husband out here, so he's going to get mad at me. But I told him, I said, we're doing zone 2 Murph. This is what it is. This is what you have to stay in. And he just couldn't do it. Like, he was knocking them push-ups out like they were nothing. And he's like, yeah, I swear I'm in zone 2. And I'm like, if I looked at your Apple Watch, I'm pretty sure it would not say you're zone 2. He just couldn't mentally get around that. So yeah, that's the challenge. The mental state of it. You got to slow down and you got to stay within those parameters. So
yeah. Joe, do you have any tips?
I got nothing.
He hasn't done it.
I can totally give advice on workouts I haven't done.
True.
But
here's how you should do things, guys. Let me.
Yeah. Trust me.
He does it all the time.
Yeah. Zone 2 will pace it for you. So yeah.
I think so. My tips. I think I may have mentioned this last time. You might end up on a walk if you, as Ashley said, or some sort of shuffle.
Most likely.
You could also. What I've done, and I think I did this on my second mile. I can't remember, but I would run and then walk. I think I was doing 30-30s, I think it was. And so that way, because the run would take me to the top of zone 2, and then I'd walk and it'd bring me back down, and then I'd run. And so I had to do that to maintain. I think I managed to stay my first mile in zone 2 just at a very slow pace. It wasn't, fast. I just tried to maintain a very slow mile run, and I managed to do that on the first mile, but then it wasn't happening after the calisthenics. And the calisthenics I just did super slow. But to like the pull-ups, I think I just would try and knock out fast, because if you're hanging from a bar and doing slow pull-ups, I think that's going to end up jacking your heart rate up more. So I try to knock those out fast, and mainly strict. And then the pull-ups were just kind of, they almost look like push-ups. The push-ups looked almost like tempo push-ups for me. Like I was intentionally trying to like stop, pause, push up, stop, pause, just kept doing that over and over again. Other than that, I don't have any more tips. Just stay in zone 2, stay in zone 2. VD, I'll call him out. He posted the screenshot of his heart rate after he was done. I'm like, dude, 8 minutes you weren't in zone 2. And, so if you, but I get it too, because he's using a Whoop, and Whoop doesn't have any sort of display. You have to pull up your phone to see your heart rate. And, maybe, you maybe didn't bring his phone with him or whatever, but if you can see your heart rate, just try and stay in that parameter. If you go outside the parameter, stop moving. Stop moving. Your heart rate will then recover into zone 2. Then you can start moving again. And this is where it's going to get really annoying and really irritating and push you mentally. So that's my tips: is stop moving, 30-30s, and stay in zone 2.
Yeah, I've been adding a lot of my workouts. I've mentioned before that I had about 10 minutes of zone 2 after workouts or conditioning or whatever. And that 10 minutes staying in zone 2, I haven't hit a mile yet. So that's last mile. It's probably going to be 15-minute mile or something like that.
And there's a 60-minute cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So finishing it would be huge if you didn't last time. All right. That's all I have for zone 2. But if you want to support what we're doing, you want to be a garage gym athlete, which apparently the world is moving that direction. Hopefully after the pandemic, all of America just has a garage gym. And hey, we just happen to be a great place to get some solid training to execute in your garage. And if you like the podcast, like the programming, like everything we're doing, and you are part of the pandemic and you don't want to do any of the random follow social media workouts we mentioned as our best advice to be nice, but realistically, the best option is going to be Garage Gym Athlete. If the fee isn't a problem with you, we've made it basically as affordable as it can be, because we know Garage Gym Athletes don't want, some $300 a month CrossFit membership thing. It's $25 a month. We really take care of you. The community's awesome. And we're here to support you. So if you want to support us, go sign up for a free trial, try our training out. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to go past the free trial. If you do like it, stick around and just be part of the awesomeness that is Garage Gym Athlete. That's all I have. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.